What if I told you that there was a need for instructional improvement in our school? What if I told you that a meta-analysis of over 900 educational studies had identified critical elements of education that have a significant effect on student learning? Well, John Hattie has done just that, and using his results, I've identified two critical elements essential for improvement in our school. I've developed a plan to improve the elements identified through the use of John Hattie's meta-analysis. This plan includes using transformational strategies aimed to push classroom instruction into Quadrant D of the Rigor Relevance Framework. The two elements that are critical and essential for improvement focus on instructional methods and feedback. With the instructional methods, the question our teachers really have to ask is it working? John Hattie, in his book Visible Teaching, says, "We spend far too much time talking about particular methods of teaching. The debate seems so often to center on this method or that. Our attention instead should be on the effect that we have on student learning. And sometimes we need multiple strategies. And more often, some students need different teaching strategies from those that they have been getting. The truth is, a lot of strategies work. The real question here is what works best and what works for our students." So a plan for improvement focuses on four key components. Our teachers need to choose instructional strategies last. They need to pair them to fit the lesson and the student, and not the other way around. They need to dedicate time to reflect on strategies, and they need to evaluate their effectiveness and adjust accordingly. Our teachers need dedicated planning time to evaluate these instructional strategies. When students struggle to grasp major concepts of a lesson, it's likely that more of the same strategy is not what they need. If our teachers had time to deliberately reflect on the effectiveness of their teaching strategies, this could open the door for other strategies that are needed, even if they aren't the way we've always taught this, or even the latest and greatest. This shifts the focus to, is it working, instead of, what can I use here, or, oh, I can't wait to use this strategy. Evaluating our instructional methods and pairing them appropriately for the task is what we need to make improvement in our instruction. It'll make our teaching more responsive to the needs of our students. Rather than giving them more of something that's not working, we'll be able to provide them with an alternative method for learning the content. Whatever strategies are chosen, they should support a curriculum which ultimately pushes the learning from teacher-driven to student-driven, and from the classroom into real life. The second element is feedback. We need to focus on these questions. Why is it given? Does it address multiple levels? Is it clear and effective? Well, the feedback most commonly given by our teachers is at the task and product level. It's primarily focused on providing information. It's specific, and often the feedback isn't generalizable. But there are other levels of feedback to consider. A second level is process-oriented. It focuses on the method by which the student arrived at an answer. It's helpful in providing connections and troubleshooting errors. The third level of feedback gets into self-regulation, which has to do with students recognizing and monitoring their own learning. This type of feedback is useful in allowing students to identify gaps in where they are and where they're trying to get to. Feedback works best when it's given at a variety of levels. Another problem with our feedback has to do with praise. It can distort feedback. I know praise is a good thing, but it can overpower the necessary feedback sometimes, and it can send false information to the student about their progress. It's okay to praise a student, but if your goal is effective feedback, then it needs to be something separate. To improve feedback, our teachers need professional development on these four areas. They need to be aware of feedback and its purpose. They need to provide feedback at multiple levels. They need to provide it in a timely manner and to keep it separate from praise. Our teachers need to be more aware of feedback and what the purpose is. If it's to help advance students on the learning continuum, they need to be certain that they're not sending conflicting messages or watering down what the student needs to know with praise. By being clear on the intended outcome of feedback, teachers can ensure that they're providing their students with what they need in a clear manner. With this information, students will be able to be far more successful. By taking a deeper look at the feedback being provided to students, teachers will become more purposeful and deliberate in ensuring that students are receiving feedback on time and in more than just the basic level. They should point out strategies for uncovering errors and help students make connections between ideas. Doing this would allow students to progress and begin to generalize the feedback so that they can apply it to future situations. This is a call for change. These elements of instruction must be fixed. We need to build awareness of these ideas and we can begin to explore them more deeply. We need to make the necessary changes. Our students deserve to receive responsive teaching and they need your help. I ask you this question. If it were your child, isn't that what you would want for them? Thank you for your time.